Well, thank you, Ms. Sullivan. Thank you for your opening comments. And actually, I'm going to want to pick up on the comments you made with small businesses and ask a question of all three of you. But I'll have Ms. Correa start, and then you can elaborate more on your as the final word in this question, because I hear it all the time from small businesses. They're saying we can't get it. I was just at a forum at Wayne State University earlier this week, and particularly with minority businesses, they're saying we can't get contracts because we have to first show that we have done well with a contract that we can't get, so it's impossible to actually get one. And I think all of you agree that there's incredible innovation and dynamism in our small business sector, and we want to help those businesses grow and prosper. So my question to each of you, and we'll let you have the last word, Ms. Sullivan, because you brought up this issue in your opening comments, so just elaborate on. How can we remove this barrier? How can we expand opportunities for small businesses to get these contracts and to stabilize their business and provide great services to the federal government?
So it's all in the evaluation, sir, and that's a great question. It's all in the evaluation of the proposals. There is an inherent desire to try to rely on past performance and experience. What I've always said is experience is good depending on what it is you need it for. If you need a brain surgeon, you probably want them to have experience. If you're buying technology, they're probably not going to have a lot of experience because technology is changing on a recurring basis. So instead of focusing so much on experience and past performance, I've always recommended let's test them. Let's bring them in, have them demonstrate what they do, have them come talk to us, similar to what you do with interviewing a person. A lot of the techniques that we developed through the Procurement Innovation Lab were designed to do just that, to create greater confidence in the evaluators by having the opportunity to meet with companies, talk to them, perhaps test them, or have them come in and demonstrate how they would accomplish the work in the solicitation. Thank you.
Yeah, I think in addition to the testing, I love that idea, is recognizing past performance done in a commercial setting. So past performance in government is not necessarily unique, and I agree it's a lot about the evaluation, and often the criteria is written so specific that you have to have had past performance, perhaps even in a bureau level within an agency in order to even be considered for the acquisition, whereas past performance in commercial settings would also be perfectly acceptable.
And I think that builds off the idea that we shouldn't confuse new entrants in the federal market with new companies. I think that that's a lot of the time what the acquisition workforce thinks of, right? With small businesses, oh, they must have just started the business. A lot of these are very successful commercial companies. I do think, to address what you had said, Senator, having goals that are internal to the agency to kind of move the needle for new entrants, that can be a way to incentivize agencies to, utilize these new entrants that may not have the past performance. And also, I think the Small Business Administration, their district offices, could be really powerful feeders for non-traditional, contractors that come to them and connect them to different agencies that, might have those specific mission needs that need to be met.
All right, thank you. Ms. Correa, I understand that recruiting and retention on procurement staff is clearly a chief concern among federal agencies all across the board. With procurements becoming ever more complex, we need trained, we need experienced workforce, and I understand agencies are continually recruiting contracting officers from each other in an attempt to maintain staffing, a little bit of poaching going on back and forth. My question to you is, how can the federal government ensure that it has enough trained professionals? What do we need to be doing now, and what do we need to be doing differently?
Thank you. That's a magnificent question. It's something that I'm passionate about. First, we got to put the right leadership in place. People who really understand the profession, understand what makes people tick, and are willing to support their individuals. They're supposed to champion this workforce and enable them to take the right risks and do the right thing. But the most important thing that I would emphasize is helping people understand what this profession is really about. People don't always come into this profession because what they read about is the bad news stories that are out there in the press. They don't hear about the good news, the things that we do very well, including the lives that we save through the procurements that we make, the things that we do to enable the mission, We talk about procurement in terms of contracting and administrative processes, and we don't talk about the fact that what procurement does is enable the mission. We buy the products and services that our first responders, our war fighters, and others use. So we need to learn how to talk to people. The other thing that I would say is we got to get into the colleges, the universities, and I dare say high schools, and start talking about the profession. We need to bring in people at the very beginning, help them see the career path and understand what this mission is. I came into the government as a clerk typist, and I took my first procurement job at the Department of Navy, and I was hooked. I was hooked because my job was diving and salvage, and it was about people's lives and the livelihood of people, and I've never forgotten what mission is about. We need to talk that way. We need to promote the right leadership in the organization, and we need to create programs. I talked about intern programs. Intern programs are a great way to bring people on board and educate them. And I do think we need to cross-train people. It's important. I took the opportunity to go into the program side, program management, and work in IT for a while, so I understand what IT is and how they think and what they look at and what program officials think. So in short, I would say we got to invest in the profession, and I do mean invest. Invest in training, invest in recruitment, but most importantly, we got to get the right leaders in place to go out there and talk to people and bring them in. And by the way, it wasn't a little bit of poaching, it was a lot of poaching. Just thought I'd mention that.
Well, good. Thanks for that clarification there. Let me pick up on the cross-training aspect. Mr. Snyder, with your own experience as a technical expert working on the procurement team, what are your thoughts about cross-training? Should we be doing more of that IT knowledge with folks with procurement background?
Yes, I think we should be realistic in what that's going to get us. I think in general, it's going to get us awareness, and it's going to help people from each community who are cross-trained kind of issue spot and recognize issues and be able to adapt and react to them. But I think we really need the collaborative teams working together, both focused on the mission outcomes that Soraya talked about, to really be able to, A, have that interest in the agency outcomes and be able to learn from each other at a more organic level than kind of awareness training will do.
Great.